So I just watched the 2025 action comedy Playdate, directed by Luke Greenfield and written by Neil Goldman. So the reason that I saw this movie is because I saw the trailer. I didn't think it looked great, but I like Kevin James, and I have to admit the part in the trailer when the kid with Alan Richson said that he wasn't his dad, I was kind of intrigued by that, not gonna lie. I was like, well, where's this going? So I ultimately decided I would go ahead and check it out with my parents when it came out, and I did not like it. This was a very stupid movie, and I do not think there's really much to enjoy about it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get into the biggest problem with the movie. The movie never takes a breath. First of all, the editing is some of the worst I've seen all year. No shot is held on for longer than 5 seconds. There's tons of shots that just feel the need to insert post production zooms that aren't necessary. Like it'll literally just be like a shot of a person driving, and then all of a sudden it'll do these like obvious done in the editing bay zooms on the character's face for no reason. Some shots have these YouTube style edits where there's like Comic Sans text on the screen to introduce you to someone, even though you're about to learn who that person is. Or there'll be freeze frames with sound effects, like in the middle of an action scene, it'll cut to like a shot of someone going, hey, yeah, that was cool, with like a ding. Or there'll be these images that are like slid in next to the actual shot. Like there'll be a shot from the movie of a character that Alan Richardson says, "Oh, he looks like Zach Galifianakis," and then all of a sudden there'll just be this picture of Zach Galifianakis slid into the shot right next to it. Like, just this feels like it's editing done by a YouTuber. The best thing I can say to describe this is it's like YouTube editing, just like, yeah, kids have ADHD. We need to keep their attention. Let's have a million edits, a million shots. Like, let's not have anything hold. Let's just make it all look real bad. And like, there, even the movie's title feels incredibly abrupt when it shows up. Like, it's just in the middle of this scene where like the characters are talking, then all of a sudden the title Playdate shows up in the bottom of the screen with these explosions popping up next to it. Because again, we have to edit this like a YouTube video for some reason. There is admittedly like decent action choreography in some scenes, particularly probably in the final scene. Like the choreography itself is fine. It's just drowned out by the terrible editing in this, and the directing isn't really helping that much either. The humor is incredibly loud and obnoxious. Like there were just so many scenes of people just shouting things, like this scene where Kevin James goes into his boss's office and it literally just opens up on these four people sitting in front of a TV shouting at it as they watch this cheetah kill a deer. And they're just like, yo, yo, yeah, go, 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 get it, get it, get it, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like, oh, I guess that's supposed to be funny, but it's just really annoying. Or there's these scenes where like Kevin James and Alan Richardson's kids eat a bunch of sugar and they drink all this caffeine and they have a sugar rush. And literally they just for the next 30 seconds or so are just running up to random people on the street shouting at them. And then sometimes it'll just interrupt that with these shots of them running in slow-mo with like operatic music playing over it, which again feels like an edit that will be done in a YouTube video. Or then they'll also just have these scenes of people acting like psychos for no reason. Like there's this scene where Kevin James is in a Chuck E. Cheese ripoff called Bucky Cheese, which doesn't look like Bucky's. Total missed opportunity. And there's this guy in a squirrel mascot costume who, first of all, approaches the adult sitting by himself, and he's just like, "Ooh, hey, come on!" Like, what mascot approach an adult like this? And then when Kevin James like says, "Go away, please," he just like insists, "No, come on, I gotta get a hug. I gotta get a hug." And when Kevin James doesn't want to give him a hug, he just starts forcibly trying to hug him and saying like, "Hey, come on, do this. Just let me do this. No, come on." And they get into like a weird fight, and I'm like, "What is happening? Who would do this? Literally, who would act like this? This is insanity." Just like, I don't understand what's happening. And the cursing in this movie is like so extraneous. Like they curse all the time in this. It almost feels like it was made by Bibsy Pop in a way. But no, but it's a PG-13 Vivzy Pop, so you only get one F bomb, and the most prominent word they say is bitch. Like they say that a lot. Like it's just like it loses all meaning at a certain point because characters just keep saying it. I will admit, in terms of the humor, there are some random out of pocket lines that did make me laugh, admittedly. Like, there's this one scene where right after Alan Richardson tells this, like, obviously fake backstory about his wife dying, he then proceeds to say, "Hey, look at this list that I made of stuff to do with my kid after my wife went tits up." Like, like it was just so weird and out of nowhere. It did admittedly get a laugh out of me, but there are still so many unfunny lines and like scenes that they don't come close to balancing out. It's just an overall really unfunny movie. And Alan Richardson in this movie is so stupid. Like he says he was a Marine. Like it's a plot point that his commanding officer said, "You're one of the best soldiers I've ever had." And yet he acts like a complete moron. Like there's this whole montage of when he's working as a security guard at this place, and he's like acting like an idiot, doing these kung fu panda kicks, but they're not like kicks that a professional person, like a military trained person would do. They're just like, "Oh, right, I'm gonna do a kick, waha!" And it's like, I'm sorry, this person was a marine or a soldier. I don't buy it at all. And like even like later on there's like so many scenes of him just acting stupid. Like this person was not a soldier. I don't understand why he's being so stupid. He thinks waterboarding is basically like you can waterboard someone with a pitcher of water. Like he says, "I'm gonna waterboard you," and so he just pours a pitcher of water on them. Like, yeah, that's the same thing. What is wrong with you? Like literally, he can't even use a gun right. Like he doesn't hold it the way that an actual person trained in combat would. And like I'm assuming Alan Richardson was actually trained how to use a gun for his Reacher show. So how did he not at any point go, "Hey guys, maybe I can hold the gun in the correct way"? No, okay, all right, that's fine. And so I almost thought maybe this can be explained because so, without getting into spoilers, there's a revelation made about two-thirds into the movie regarding CJ, the kid with Alan Richardson. And I thought initially that they were going to have a similar twist regarding Alan Richardson. If you've seen the movie, I think you know what I'm talking about. And, like, that would at least explain why he's so stupid. But no, they don't go that route, so he's literally just an idiot claiming he was a soldier. And like I get what they were trying to do with him. They were trying to make him like Dwayne Johnson in that 2010s movie Central Intelligence. But here's the difference. Dwayne Johnson, and it's insane to say this considering all the stuff we've gotten about Dwayne Johnson in the past couple of years. Dwayne Johnson in that movie had way more charisma than Alan Richardson does here. Like you actually got why Kevin Hart would want to be his friend at the end of that movie. Meanwhile, here, I do not understand why Kevin James still wants to be Alan Richardson's friend at the end of this. And like it's actually shown in Central Intelligence that Dwayne Johnson is genuinely very skilled at his job. He's just a bit socially awkward. Here, Alan Richardson is socially awkward and he's stupid and he doesn't know how to be a soldier except the few times where he's like actually really good at combat, so I guess he does. Just, this character was easily like one of the stupidest inclusions in this movie. I don't understand why they made him like this. Kevin James in the movie was passable, I guess. Like he has a few funny lines here and there. Like he goes through a familiar arc of being unsure whether he's a good dad or not, which we've seen a lot before. And even though, by the way, his kid constantly says, "I love you. I love you, Dad. I love you." And it's like but he thinks his kid doesn't actually love him, which sure, okay. And it doesn't help that like he's like concerned. He wants his kid to love him, but there are also just all these scenes of Kevin James like really wanting to get his son into sports. Like he signs him up for a sports team he doesn't really want to be on. He like tries to get him to throw a football even though he's not really into it. And he's like dismissive of the fact that the son actually wants to be a dancer, which like to be fair, we see his sons dancing, and I was like mostly just like, what's happening? But he doesn't want to like be supportive or try and get him to be better. He just is like, no, you're gonna do sports, do sports. We're gonna be sports people, yeah. And even Kevin James is like even worried that his son not playing sports might turn him gay. Oh no. And like of course this is conveyed through a TikTok edit because this is conveyed to us through like Sarah Chalk, who plays his wife, saying, maybe he's just not a sports kid. And then Kevin James just it zooms in on his face, and then we get this cut to a random TikTok of this theater kid singing a Peter Pan song, which yeah, that was so natural. That was you did conveyed that very well. That did not feel shoehorned in at all. Good job. The kids in this film are passable as well. Like CJ is emotionless for most of the film, but there is technically a reason for that, which I won't reveal. So I don't want to get into spoilers. And Kevin James' son in the movie, he's fine. I could see him working in like a movie with a better script. I thought it was kind of funny because like my dad pointed out that he looks like Greg Heffley in the Die of Wimpy Kid movies, and I kind of couldn't unsee it. But like even like talking about the script that the kids had, these kids just have lines no kid would ever say. So like this is in the trailer. There's a scene where like Alan Ritchson is saying how his emotional problems caused him to sleep with like thousands and thousands of women. His words. And so then Kevin James' son goes, "Whoa, Dad, how many women have you slept with?" First of all, what kid would say that? Literally, what kid would ever say that? Second of all, Kevin James, you'd think would be like, "Hey, you don't talk like that. You're not supposed to ask questions like that." But no, he just says, "Nah, it's not important. Don't worry about it." Because, haha, awkward. Dad doesn't have as many women he slept with as Alan Richardson does. Like, no, it's like no kid would talk like this. And there's quite a few lines like that in the movie where just kids don't talk like that. You just think that would be funny, but it's not. So it's just stupid. And like even and outside of those main actors, like there's just so many funny actors in this movie who've been funny in other things that are wasted here. Like I said, Sarah Chalk's in the movie as Kevin James's wife, and her role is literally just wife. She has like no personality of her own, no real jokes to even tell. She's just there. And I'm like convinced that in the opening scene of the movie at the lacrosse game, I'm convinced she was green screened in because it did not look like she was really there. Isla Fisher is in this movie, and she's been fun in other things, but here it's clear they. I'm convinced they almost just let her go off and didn't even give her a script because her first scene is her just going off about how, hey, me and the other moms, we all do coke, we all drink during the day. Hey, you want to hang out with us? We're gonna jump you and keep your clothes on. Like, it almost felt like improv we'd see in a Tyler Perry movie. It was that annoying. And then in her second scene is she like sees Kevin James on like an Amber Alert, which is a whole other thing, but like she thinks he's a pervert, so she like tries to run him off the road, and then she tries to get her kid to tase him, but oh, she gets tased. Oh, wacky, and then she's out of the movie. Sure, that was a great use of Isla Fisher. Stephen Root is in this movie, who I absolutely love, and he's just there to deliver an exposition dump and be a neglectful father to Alan Richson. Alan Tudyk is in this movie, and he's literally just there to be a generic Elon Musk clone character. Like, you can tell they're trying so hard for him to be James Gunn's Lex Luthor, and he ain't no Lex Luthor. Like, the closest other actor to being funny in this, I would say, is Paul Walter Hauser, who has a couple brief scenes, and he actually is a little funny here. I'll admit he has a couple of good lines, but still, he doesn't save the movie with his few scenes. Just some miscellaneous things I want to talk about. There are some bad, like, website stand ins. Like, there's this dating app that Paul Walter Hauser is on. I think it's called, like, Humper or something like that. And essentially, like, first of all, the fact that it's called that would never get on the App Store. Second of all, apparently, when you get banned on that website, just this big red text appears on the screen that says banned. Or when you get reported, this big red text on screen that says reported. Like, this is like UI designed by someone who doesn't know what websites are. Or there's this like scene where Kevin James is looking at videos of Alan Tudyk online, and they're posted to Dick Doc. That's yeah. That wonder what that's supposed to be a stand-in for. Like the font even looks like the TikTok font. Like, not even trying. There's some obvious reincorporation and plot points you can see coming a mile away. Like there's a scene early on where Kevin James says, "Oh, I have a tracking app on my phone because my wife wants me to keep tabs on my kid." Gee, I wonder if that's gonna come back into the movie. There's this character we see in like a flashback scene with Alan Richardson, and the second you see them, it's like, well, they're the villain, and sure enough, they're the villain. And even there's this like very obvious line where a character says, "We need more soldiers like you. I need more soldiers like you." And right away, I'm like, well, I know where that's going. There's Yeah, without going into spoilers, there's a thing the villain instructs CJ to do to Alan Richardson at the end of the movie, and the second that he's like, "Do it," you're like, he's not gonna do it. Like, it's there's no drama to this at all. And there's even like plot points in this movie that just straight up not followed up on. Like, so as I alluded to earlier, Kevin James and Alan Richardson are both mistakenly labeled as child predators by the police, and that's supposed to explain why when they start getting chased by the bad guys, they can't just go to the cops. Even though Kevin James could probably just explain it with the help of his wife, who is a lawyer, I might add, but whatever. And then this plot point is just never addressed again after it's introduced. Like literally, the movie ends and this plot point is never resolved. Like they're both presumably just still labeled as child predators, and there's presumably Amber Alerts out on them still. That's never addressed again. Okay then. So yeah, overall, long way of saying this is a bad comedy. There's not really much value to watching it. I would say only watch it if you're like a die-hard Kevin James or Alan Richardson fan, because nobody else is going to get anything out of this. I'm going to give Playdate an F. And one last thing, there is a mid-credit scene that has very obvious sequel baiting. That's never gonna happen. I'm sorry, like this movie, even audiences aren't really getting into this. There's no way this is getting a sequel. Sorry. So those are my thoughts on Playdate. If you've had the misfortune of seeing this movie, be sure to let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to see more reviews like this in the future. And on that note, I will see you next time. Have a great day.